Got a brand new Jeep.
Oh, Isla told somebody in first grade they were talking about their ethnic background, and she told them she was German and African American, and I went, no, Native American. It's Native American. She was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's African American. I went, no, I'm pretty sure it's Native American. I'm pretty sure. I have pictures of the Native American both grandmothers.
Very small.
And that'd be cool if we were African American. I just need you to be accurate. I don't have a problem with you being African American, but people will think that you're part black, and you are not. You're part Native American. I was like, so maybe think Indian. And she could not get it. Oh my
God, that's hilarious.
She could not get it. I was like, yeah, we're not African. She's so funny. I am not a white girl.
Oh my, she's right though.
That
anyway,
is so funny. That girl, man.
These kids are crazy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have a plan for October for those people who are listening. I have a plan. I already told Bert about this plan. I am sure he will not be very helpful with me in this plan, but I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know about you, but I feel I don't know what's happening to my brain, because I feel like I look at my calendar in the morning and 10 minutes later, I don't remember what I have on my calendar. I am checking emails all day long and not addressing any of them all day. I feel like I'm just like flag. And then I'll go back and I've flagged 15 emails and have not done anything with them all day. I can't seem to remember to do simple things like Georgia is going on her sophomore retreat and she was supposed to bring a community snack. You know how many times I said in my brain, I need to get a community snack. 10 o'clock last night, Georgia goes, what's the community snack? And I went, fuck, shit. Guess I'm going to the grocery store to get your community snack because I can't keep up with it. So when we first started this podcast, I had talked about all these systems I had in place that are just gone. And they're gone partly because of this podcast, because I have to kind of bob and weave through the week based on my guests' schedules. But I know we were talking about maybe overhauling October for ourselves. Halston even said we should call it Sober Momtober. Because, it's sobering being a mom in and of itself.
It's not as exciting as Bert's October.
No.
Goes without saying.
No, not as exciting. But so we thought we would come up with some kind of plan to stay really organized and do it for 30 days and see how it affected our stress, our efficiency, our sleep, our weight, or whatever. I'm just going to watch everything because I've started chewing my fingers again, which is what I do when I'm really anxious and overwhelmed and too busy. And I keep thinking there's got to be why have I completely lost the systems I set up before? They're totally gone. So how do I grab a hold of myself and get back in that place? What do you guys think about all of that I just said?
Yeah, I'm on board. I think when you're overwhelmed, it's easy to be scattered. Like you have a ton going on. The beginning of a new school year I feel like this happens every year. And even though I have a child in 9th grade and have been in the school game for a lot of years, I feel like every year it kicks me in the butt where I'm like, oh, that's right. August, September is just chaos because we're all adjusting to new routines, new expectations. And so I think what you're experiencing sounds completely normal to me because it sounds like me every time this year. And you've had the added busyness and stress of launching Bert's tour and all of the travel and getting a new puppy.
Yes, the puppy was a smart move. Let me tell you. Maybe not in trying to stay organized.
Yeah. So I'm on board and I'm with you.
I feel like it's like going to the gym. Like, it's so great when you're doing it and you're in that routine. But the second you get out of that routine, you're like, fuck, I can't get back on track to save my life.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's so much better. When I had all of the systems in place, everything was great.
Yeah.
Things were not falling through the cracks. Like,
Right.
I was organized, I had free time.
Right.
And now I have a ton of free time and I don't know what the hell to do because I don't actually have free time. I should be doing 8 million things that I've forgotten to do.
Right.
So
I'm taking notes.
I brought a pen too. I'm going to take notes on all of this.
So
someone send me notes because I did not.
someone send you notes.
Clearly, I'm not organized.
Not
I
organized.
need some help.
Clearly, you are the problem in
Yes.
this wheel, the cog.
That is
the
very
problem
true.
cog. So, where do we start? One thing that stresses me out more than anything is what to cook for fucking dinner.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I have 2 days a week where I have Blue Apron. And those 2 days a week, I'm like, thank God. But I can't have Blue Apron 5 days a week. So I think I need to start planning meals. Now, you had read something about
I did just recently read this, and I had wanted to do it before this podcast and forgot. Shocking. But when I had a system set up, it was so great. But I was reading this article. This woman basically has a 6-week meal plan, and she started by
6 weeks.
6 weeks. It doesn't sound as daunting when I read it.
It's freaking
So-
monumental. That's a lot.
She was like, first of all, you sit down, and then she called it the dump. Like, you just literally write down every single menu that your family will eat. Right? So, like, you have everything in front of you. And then you sort of go through. And she had said there were 2 nights a week where they do leftovers. So she's like, I don't have to plan 2 nights a week. Like, it's just a guaranteed. I only need 5 nights a week. And in thinking about my situation, my family doesn't do leftovers very well. So that wouldn't work. But there's always 2 nights a week where we just don't eat at home.
Right.
We're either eating out or at someone's house or whatever. So
Right.
there's 2 nights that we don't have to worry about. If we have Blue Apron, that's another 2 nights that you don't have to worry about.
Right.
So then you're like, okay, that's only 4 nights a week that I actually have to plan.
Right.
And if you look at how many meals your family actually eats, you could easily parcel that out over the course of 6 weeks.
Yeah, that
Do you know,
okay. I feel
it's-
better.
It's
I'm
not
feeling better.
so bad. And then once you plug it in, all you have to do is rotate 6 weeks later,
Yeah.
and then you're not eating the same meal.
And you end up flipping it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I did a modified version of this because Richard just had shoulder surgery and he does most of the cooking in our household. So it was a real blow.
Right?
I was like, oh my God, I have to do 100% of the cooking and 100% of the everything. So we sat down and did a 3-week plan on that before his surgery. I was like, okay, everybody, tell me what you're eating. You know, this is because I would write out lists of that, but then I'd prepare it and the kids would be like, oh, I don't like this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Right?
Why
When
is
does that
this
happen?
happening right as dinner's being served? Like,
Right?
this isn't helpful. So we sat down as a family and I listed off what I'd come up with on the list. And then Richard supplemented by going, oh, remember we used to do this? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Everybody liked that. And the kids would mention things. So we did that for 3 weeks and it was very successful. We ended up having to flip some days because then it's like you get invited over for dinner somewhere or there's a fundraiser at someone's school that comes up and,
But
It
it's
was-
easy. Like once you have it set out, you're like, oh, so I'm not going to cook this tonight. I'll cook it on Thursday
Yeah.
or whatever.
yeah. And
But
like,
I just feel like once you know what you're doing for
Yeah.
that week, and then I can go to the supermarket once.
Right.
My problem is I feel like I go to the supermarket every flipping day.
Right?
Because I need
Yeah.
1 or 2 things.
Well, for 1 or 2 things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
We talk about a colossal waste of time.
Well, I Instacart constantly. And I have massive guilt for that because I live across the street from the grocery. Like it would take me less time to walk to the grocery store than it would to log in and ask for
And
someone to
order.
bring it to me. It's pretty pathetic. But I don't have time. I'm like, I don't have time. I'm usually like, just finished working out, super sweaty. Let me Instacart something and they can be working on it while I'm showering, instead of going to the grocery
Yeah.
store. Disgusting. I do that a lot. I mean, but Instacart is.
I have yet to start Instacart. We
Yeah, I
talked
haven't
about this
done
the
it
last
either.
time we did an
Okay.
organizational podcast.
Let me
haven't
just
done it
tell you
either.
about Instacart.
Note to self.
Instacart is, you pay, I pay like a yearly fee, which makes it less expensive. And I think it ends up being like $10 a month or something. And then you tip on their delivery. I'm happy to tip somebody for doing the work for me. But if you order a certain amount, there's no delivery fee. If you want like a carton of eggs, you'll have to pay a delivery fee. But if you order, a good amount, and it's not even that much. I think it's like $30 or something. I don't know. Don't quote me, but it's not a big amount. There's no additional fee other than your yearly or your monthly subscription fee. And then you just tip the driver. I've been using it a lot lately, and I find it to be really helpful. I wish they would Instacart Trader Joe's.
You know what? That's so. I was just going to ask you if it was Trader Joe's, because I feel like that's an additional supermarket trip. And Costco and Ralph's and whatever. I'm like, for the love of God, can't you just have everything in one place? Like, that would make things so much easier.
It would, but you can do Costco and Ralph's and Vons and Whole Foods and Petco, all with Instacart. You can put it all in one order. I need this from Petco, this from Costco, this from whatever, and have it all in one order. And then you're just going to Trader Joe's. So that's what I've been trying to do. But now if I have a menu of all my meals for the week, I can really Instacart. And then, because I don't cook dinner from Trader Joe's. That's all lunchbox.
Yeah.
It's like straight up lunchbox.
Like extra stuff.
Is Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
So, and Farm Boy, this little place down the street that has a lot of Asian food, because clearly my white daughter thinks she's Asian. So I do go there from time to time too. But yeah, Instacart is a really big time saver, and it's not that expensive. The groceries, I don't like look at every single nickel, but I think they are really close to the same price as in the store. So say you pay an extra quarter for your milk, I'm happy to give somebody a quarter for me not to go to the store. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's not like the milk is $5 in the store and it's $7.50 on Instacart. It's not like that. I'm sure there's a small upcharge. I mean, how does Instacart make money if there's not some type of upcharge? Also, will you text Bert and tell him I'm podcasting? He's obsessively calling me. Sorry.
Yeah, although, for those who can't wrap their minds around Instacart, because I'm not quite there yet, I think it's a great idea, but I'm like, okay, but what am I doing? I can get to the grocery store. I just need to work more efficiently. But having the meal plan sort of is one step closer to, cutting out. It cuts out more grocery store visits, because at least if you're looking at the week and you go, okay, I'm going to stock up on all these non-perishables, and then maybe you have to go back to the grocery store to get like fresh vegetables or, meat or something later in the week, but it's not the monumental task.
Right. Yeah, because I usually go to the supermarket on Mondays. That's my day. I go to the supermarket, and if I could just do it just on Monday.
Yeah.
And I've fallen into the routine, like, oh, there's one right next to school. Oh, I'll just stop in there right before I do pickup.
Right.
So I'm like, it has become like, that is now my organizational routine, which is so dumb.
Well, you nickel and dime yourself out of free time. I think that's what happens, is that you start nickel and diming. That's the same with the email thing. I'll nickel and dime my email, and I don't really address anything. But we'll talk about that later. So the menu is a good idea, because I've already now, as we're talking, written down the days I have to plan. I basically have to plan Tuesday. I'm going to do Monday, Thursday, Blue Apron. Friday night, we always do pizza. Friday night's pizza night. Has been forever. So I just have Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. Wednesday night, Georgia has softball from 5 to 7. 30 minutes from my house. So
that's terrible.
I can't. Like, that needs to be like a crock pot day. That needs to be like a make-ahead casserole, crock pot, throw it in the oven, enchiladas, something super easy I can make ahead, so that I can plan that I have one make-ahead meal. That's the thing, too, is I go, oh, I should have a make-ahead meal today, but now I got to go to the store and get all the ingredients, and I got to start it at 2 p.m. to have it done by 7, and now I forget it. I'm not doing it. I do that a lot, too, where if I just sit down...
Right.
And plan the week. I'm the same too. I go to the store on Mondays too. So
and having the block like this, I know we're kind of probably jumping ahead, but I know you talked about in the past having the block scheduling of days, like, oh, on Monday I do grocery shopping or whatever. But if you have the block schedule sort of meals where it's like, oh, Fridays are pizza night, I never have to worry about Fridays.
Right.
Wednesdays are always going to be chaotic. They should be in the crock pot days, so I've got to get my crock pot ingredients by no later than Tuesday.
Right.
So I can just throw it in, call it a day.
Yeah. It's the figuring out what to put in the crock pot. That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, this all sounds great in theory, and I do want to go for it because it has worked in the past. But I will say the thing that hasn't worked in the past is that the burnout level of people in the family, you never know when it's going to happen. So you're sort of walking a tightrope with, oh, we're sick of this thing. And I'm like, what? We haven't had it in 4 weeks.
Right.
I can tell because of my handy little meal schedule.
Right.
And they're still burnt out on it. Like Richard even mentioned the other day when he was like, oh, we used to always make this one thing. And one of our daughters is vegetarian now. So this is a vegetarian meal and we were really happy about it. He said, oh, what about that thing that we used to make? I swear, you guys, we probably haven't made it in 10 years. But it was such a go-to back then that I felt nauseous at the thought of making it again.
How fun.
Even though I hadn't, and we loved it. We loved it for years, but we maybe loved it too much.
Yeah.
And now
What was
I'm just
it?
like, it's called a Moroccan hot pot. It's a crock pot meal. And it's vegetarian. It has like, I think it had maybe butternut squash cubed that you can get pre-cubed at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of easy and like
toss it in, turn it on.
chickpeas. Yeah.
Sounds
It was
good.
really delicious and kind of sweet too. So you had like dried cherries in there that would plump up. And
Ooh.
it was really delicious, but I just burnt out on it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense that 10 years later, I'm still like, oh no,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
So in this article that I was reading, she had actually put in one night a week that was like a new recipe. Because I feel like there's like you always have to, or like I'm constantly
I can't
trying
do a
something
new recipe
Well,
once
you could
a
do
week.
it once a week. I mean, once a month. You know,
Yeah.
you can do it whenever you want.
Right. Yeah,
but for her, she was like, I think it was once a week. She threw in like, let's try something new or whatever.
Delicious.
So
Well, Blue Apron does that for me a lot of the time. So
Yeah.
I'll have a new thing. But that's a really great idea. I like that idea because I constantly pull recipes out of magazines.
yes,
and never
I have
make
a
them.
stack, and then I'm
Me
like,
too.
when the hell am I ever going to make this?
Yeah.
I've had it for 4 years
Me
now.
too. And then I throw them out and I go, damn it, there's that
should've.
one sangria. Where's that sangria recipe? And then you can't find it. And I don't even remember what magazine it came from. So frustrating. But I like that idea.
Sangria for dinner? Yum.
Yeah, for
What?
me.
Coming to your
For
house.
me.
What are your standby meals that your kids and like your family really likes? Because that's I feel
funny, I was
like
thinking about this.
we do the same 3 things, and I'm like, okay, they like these things. They're gonna be burnt out in no
And
time.
then in a
What do other
second,
people
they're
do?
going to like not want to eat it
Yeah, and then
anymore.
sometimes you hear someone talk about what they made, and you're like, oh, what a great idea! I
Yeah,
used
that
to make
Moroccan dish, pass it on.
Sounds
I will.
yummy. Yeah.
I make really good lasagna. And even though that's very fattening, it's not a great healthy meal.
Lasagna is a great thing that we do with the kids. Like the kids make it, and it's just sort of slightly supervised because it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's just layer, 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 layer.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I usually make a lasagna and then I make a large one and then I freeze it. Like we'll eat half of it over the
that's
course
a
of a
good
couple
idea.
days.
I was gonna
And
say,
then
I make two
I cut it
and
in
freeze one.
individual portions and freeze it. And then they can either eat it when they're hungry after school, or a lot of times I'll put it in their lunchbox. I'll thaw it, pull it out the night before and then just nuke it and put it in their little thermos in their lunchbox. That's one meal that I tend
Great
to make
idea.
Oh, that's
like
smart.
once a month or every other month or something. And they love it. And I for whatever reason, I make really good lasagna. That's one of my go-tos. What about you? Well, I think about another
Mine
one.
is a taco recipe that I make.
Share it.
It's just kind of made up, but it has like a bunch of beans, tomatoes, corn, onions, and then some sort of protein. Or sometimes if I don't have protein, I don't put any in. Usually I put chicken in because that's what they like the best. But that's like my go-to. And I feel like, unfortunately, it's almost every week I go to it.
Right.
Because everyone in the family eats it, no questions asked.
Right.
But at some point, they're going to be like, done. No
Yeah.
more. So,
Well, as we were talking, I wrote down Taco Tuesday. So now I've got another meal planned. So now I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday planned already, just
Well,
from this meeting.
You don't need to brag about it.
I know, right?
Well, 2 are Blue Apron, 1's pizza. Then I just have to deal with the crock pot and Taco Tuesday and the weekend meals. And half the time my kids are gone on the weekend. So I just eat a leftover or something. But I'm feeling much better about this plan. I'm feeling much better. I just
la-di-da.
gotta come. I do feel like I should make a different type of taco every week.
Yeah.
Like this week we'll do chicken. Next week we do steak. One week we'll do veggie. Oh God.
Wondering about the dogs.
Oh. Here comes Bert.
I just walked looking for you. I thought you were walking the puppy.
Oh, Courtney's walking the dogs. Courtney's
Okay.
in the bath. The puppy's in the bathroom.
Okay, I just didn't see any of the dogs. I started panicking.
Oh,
Did
God.
you? You didn't think about me being maybe in my podcast?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Love you, babe.
Bye,
Do
Bert.
you though?
Sometimes.
By the way, can
Yeah.
I tell you?
Yeah.
I hate you
Why?
for putting that dog in the goddamn bed with me. You know that dog and I woke up soaking wet together.
Yeah.
That dog goes literally one leg underneath me, on top of me. And I woke up to the dog trying to get the sweat off of it. It was such a shit show in that fucking bed.
Well, there were 3 dogs and Bert in the bed, and I was like, I'll take the couch. I can't even fit in the bed.
Oh, the puppy goes, if I would push it, lay on my back, and it would just curl up and put a paw over me.
Yeah. She's a heat-seeking missile.
come
She's
on.
fucking, and she gets you so hot. I woke up in the middle of the night, I was literally shaking sweat off. I was soaking wet.
Maybe you were detoxing.
I was definitely detoxing.
Yes, getting ready for Sober October. Oh, yeah.
Also, we have an 11 o'clock with Bobby Kelly.
Yes, I know. I'm aware.
All right, I'm going to be getting naked in the pool.
All right,
Guys.
bye. Good thing you're facing this way.
Right.
And not
God, I
the
can't see
pool.
the pool.
Okay, I have no idea what we're talking about, but I know it was recipes.
Yeah.
So what's a go-to of yours?
Well, various crock pot chicken things,
Yeah.
different marinades. Like, but our go-to, like last night, we did chicken in the crock pot with island soyaki from Trader
Trader
Joe's.
Joe's.
And I mean, so our go-to, our standby, if you walk into our house any given day at dinner time, most of the time it'll be some variation on chicken, broccoli. What else do we have?
My kids don't like chicken. They are carnivores, like through and through. They would prefer not to eat chicken.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so bored by chicken. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the last thing
I
that I would
hate chicken.
ever-
Yeah.
I eat it
I don't
because
like
I feel
it.
bad. I'd
Yeah.
eat red meat every day.
My kids
Yeah.
are that way.
Every day.
100%.
Pork here and there, red meat every day. I'd eat it every day. I love it, which is not
What's
super
your blood
healthy.
type?
A negative. I'm supposed to like fish, hate fish. but I
I'm
don't
O
hate
positive,
fish.
and I'm supposed to like red meat, and I do. That's like basically that's the only meat that when I sort of went from I was a vegetarian for a lot of years, and when I went back to eating meat, it was only to eat red meat, and not that often, just like maybe once every couple of weeks. But
Right.
I was just like, why bother with chicken? Who cares?
Yeah,
Yeah.
chicken is pretty
Yeah.
uneventful
Yeah.
most of the time. I'm going to try to start. I like fish better now than I have ever my whole life. So Bert made sea bass last night. I was like, that's amazing. It was great. So I'm going to try to insert some of that.
Do your kids eat it?
Yeah, my kids love
Wow.
fish, but I don't know how to cook fish because I can fry it. You know, I can make a really good fried catfish, but I can't. I don't know how to just like cook fish. I got to start kind of learning that. So you have various chicken dishes throughout the week.
Yeah, and then
sometimes.
like a pot roast. That's my go-to for beef because it can be done in the crock pot. I've got a good marinade that I can just whip together and don't have to like
I wish
measure
I used
out.
my crock pot. Like that sounds so much easier, and I never pull
Well,
that thing
the
out.
great
Yeah.
thing about like the pot roast is that you throw the potatoes in, throw the carrots in. Like
Yeah.
it literally is a one pot meal. We usually add broccoli to it later,
Right.
steamed broccoli, but it's 90% a one pot meal, and it can just slow cook all day long.
There's I do
do
this
that.
thing too from Trader Joe's. They have a jarred yellow curry that's not spicy.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really good.
We've used that.
And you put it in the crock pot with chicken and onion and potato.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll dice tomatoes, put it in there later. And the girls really like that over white rice. Just you can cook rice in a rice cooker. I have a rice cooker, or I buy the microwavable rice from Trader Joe's. So white rice, jasmine rice, it's really good.
Yeah.
That's another quick one that I'd totally forgotten about until we started talking about the
Yeah.
crock pot. Because I literally open the jar and pour it over the chicken and turn it on and chop the vegetables. It takes me 5 minutes. I've made that
Yeah.
like twice. The girls gobbled it, and I just keep forgetting.
That's one of the
Right.
chicken ones that we do is another Trader Joe's one. It's this it's like this green salsa, which is something that my kids normally wouldn't be interested in, nor would I. But you literally put the chicken in the crock pot, you dump the jar of it. It's a small jar, but dump the whole jar on it, put it in the crock pot. Everybody in the family loves it.
That's
And,
awesome.
yeah.
That's it? Just salsa?
That's it. That's
Wow.
literally it.
That's great.
That's crazy,
Yeah, the crock pot is just one of the best things ever.
It is.
I
but
also
never
bought.
use it.
I don't either. You know why? I have to walk all the way to the back of my house to get it.
I just don't ever think about using it.
I don't. I think
Or
about
I think
it too
about
late.
it at like noon.
Yeah.
And then you're like, shit, now
But
we're eating
noon
dinner
is
at
o-
9 o'clock.
No, noon is okay if it's on high. Well, it depends
not if
on
I
the
have to go to the
size.
supermarket and go buy the
That's
shit.
right.
that I don't
Well, it also
have.
depends on the size of your crock pot. We
I have a big one.
we downsized
Yeah.
our crock pot. This is so exciting.
It is kind of exciting. A lot of moms are listening.
We
They'll-
had like a big family-sized crock pot, but the problem with it is that it took forever to heat up.
I have that
And
crock pot.
I
it
have that
eventually like fizzled out, and we had to buy a new crock pot. So we bought a smaller one, and it's great because we realized that also with the big one, it's like big family size, but we're a family of 4.
Yeah.
And unless you want to eat leftovers for the rest of your life,
Right.
like
Right.
it wasn't that, it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
So the smaller one is perfect because it often doesn't provide the leftovers. Sometimes we get like a little bit of leftovers, but that doesn't really matter too much because my family isn't probably going to eat a lot of the leftovers anyway. It's
Right.
usually the parents eating the
Right.
leftovers in our household.
Yeah, same here.
So that made all the difference in the world because then it would heat up fast. If I'd find myself even at 2:00 going, oh my God, I was supposed to do something in the crock pot today. We have gymnastics. How are we going to do this? It's still enough time to just put it on high. It heats it up and
Because it's
Oh,
smaller.
interesting.
Another go-to I have is a turkey 3-bean chili. That's really
I have a
good.
turkey
Chili.
chili that we
Done
go
chili.
to a lot.
It's a
also.
crock pot one.
Mine
Yeah.
is not.
Mine's a
but-
crock pot.
I do a crock
But mine
pot
only
chili
takes
too.
about an hour.
It
so it's
doesn't-
not terrible.
Yeah, it's not long in the crock pot either.
Yeah.
But it's a crock pot chili, and I always make baked potatoes with it. The girls love baked potatoes and chili.
I
And
bribed them with buttermilk biscuits. Maybe not the healthiest.
Jesus, Kathy, why don't you ever invite me to your house? I went to her house one time. You know what they had for dinner? Sweet potato pie. I was like, this is the
My
best
kids
thing
love
ever.
the sweet potato pie.
This is your
wow.
dinner?
It was not dinner. It was a side dish.
It was a side dish
But
for
still.
dinner. Like
Yeah.
instead of
Wow.
sweet potatoes, they had sweet potato pie as a side. I was like,
I
if I was a
love
kid,
that recipe. Yeah.
you know, and about the things about this is a hard thing, I think, to manage, really. Is trying to cook something that everybody eats. I said this week. I've told my kids this story probably 1,000,000 times. I lived some of my childhood, not very much, but some of my childhood with my grandparents and my dad. My dad and I lived with his parents right after my mom and dad divorced. And what she put on the table is what you ate. And you did not have one negative thing to say. They adopted 2 boys while we were living with them, and they were middle school and high school age boys. And I remember the middle school boy sat down at the table and went, "What's this stuff?" And my grandfather punched him out of his chair. And he said, "If you don't ever say one thing about my wife's, what she's put on the table, you eat it because it's been provided for you." And I've told my kids that story over and over again when they're like, "I don't want to eat the blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, you're so lucky that Haskell Kemp did not just punch you out of the chair. How about you just eat the broccoli? How about you just say, "Thanks, Mom, for spending all day cooking or planning or shopping," or "Thank you," or just say, "No, thank you. I don't want that." And, you know, we can have a discussion about it, but you don't get to go, "Ew, that's gross. I don't want to have tacos on Taco Tuesday." Then part of me feels like, well, then you shop and cook and serve or shut up and eat. So just this past week, I had a lot of complaining and I went, here's the deal. By the way, one of my biggest complainers is my husband, who will go, "Oh, we're having that?" And I'm like, dude, then you go to the grocery store and buy the stuff and you cook. So half the time when he does that, that's what I do. I go, "Well, then I'm not cooking, you cook." And he gets, he cooks and he's aggravated that he's put upon. But I'm like, don't freaking complain about that. I'm the person planning.
Yeah.
Then you eat. And so this week I said, new policy. Nobody complains about what's on the table. I understand everybody's likes and dislikes, but I am going to serve a healthy, balanced meal with the intention of you eating at least a small amount of everything on the table. Okay? I didn't get to say, no, I don't like green beans. I had to eat at least a couple green beans. And then I could move on with my day. So we're going to enact that policy because I feel like I've gotten really lazy with my kids because they can walk in and take something out of the fridge and eat whatever they want. And then at dinner, I'm like, oh, just eat whatever you want. Just eat. We're all overwhelmed by everything else that's going on. That do I really want to have a fight about how much broccoli you've eaten and you're 15? No. So I'm trying to have some kind of like basic standard policy that you will eat at least a couple of bites, even of the things you think are gross. Period. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, Stephen actually has been so good about that in our family. My kids were the same way.
Yeah,
Ew,
same
I'm not
with
doing that. I'm
Richard,
not doing
yeah.
that. And Stephen was like, not having it. My kids are actually really good, I have to say. Even
Good.
if they don't like it, they're like, Mom, this is not my favorite dish. Can I go get something else? Yes, you can. Like, you have to sit down at the table. You have to make an attempt. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes something I'll cook is not great. It's a new
Right.
recipe or whatever.
Right.
But you cannot be like, ew, I don't like this. Like, you cannot complain. I certainly was never allowed to complain growing up. That didn't happen. So Stephen's been really, really good about being on top of them. Like, that is not acceptable.
Yeah, Richard was
So,
really
we don't
on
have
top
that
of
as
that
much
from an
anymore.
early age. So
Yeah.
they don't really, it's not that they complain about anything. It's really more a matter of they will eat minimally
Yeah.
Yes.
if they don't like it. And
Right.
so do I want them to eat minimally? No, because then like an hour later, they're going to be snacking in the kitchen. You know, I'll hear some like crinkling in the kitchen.
That's what I had
whatever.
before. I feel like we get home at 6 o'clock, they're ravenous.
Yeah.
So they grab whatever, and then dinner's at
Yes.
6:30, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not hungry."
Yeah.
Because you ate 4 fucking bags of chips
Yeah.
before dinner. Like
Yeah.
that is the problem. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to balance that part, and I don't want to serve dinner at 9 o'clock.
I
at
know.
night,
And I
you
don't
know?
want to police
So-
eating, especially having
Right.
girls.
Yeah.
You know, I very torn about that, but sometimes I'm just like, just stop eating. Like
Yep.
you need to be hungry for dinner.
Right.
Well, I just say no. I'm so mean. No,
I say
you can't
no,
have that.
but-
No.
Yeah,
You
I
can
say
have
too.
fruit. You can have vegetables, but you can't have junk 30
Yeah.
minutes before dinner. No, you can't have ice cream.
Well, one thing that
do
I've been
that. I have
doing
a son
that
who sneaks the food.
occasionally works when I'm preparing dinner, if I'm not flying by the seat of my pants, if I'm like preparing things sort of ahead of time, then I will chop up cucumbers and put them on the table
Mm-hmm.
so that when they get back from school, they're cucumbers. And so
It's
if they're
waiting for
feeling
them.
snackish, they're at least like, oh, this is easy to eat.
Yeah.
And at least it's healthy.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
accessible. Okay, so I'm going to plan on Sunday mornings having a nice cup of coffee. Well, I guess if we do 6 weeks, how are we going to do this? Are we going to do a 30-day meal plan?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
doable?
30 day, I think, is
Yeah, I'll do it.
reasonable. Yeah.
Okay, 30-day meal plan. So then we'll see how it goes for the 30 days, right? 30-day meal plan. That's the first step in our sober Momtober.
I feel like I'm sober all the time, though.
I am always sober.
What's the problem?
I'm constantly sober. Maybe we need
Which
to
is the
have
problem?
an inebriated October, obliterated October.
Yeah, that wouldn't help with our organization.
No,
No,
probably
probably
not.
not.
Okay,
All right.
what's the next thing we need to organize? Meals. I'm going to try to go back to my having an assigned purpose for each day. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to go back to that. So
I want to as well.
That's an interesting theory.
it's an interesting theory. Why? What's your dissension to my interesting theory?
No dissension whatsoever. I just haven't done it.
Oh, I see. I thought
Yeah,
you were like,
I-
interesting
like-
in theory.
No, so-
however,
no, no,
Leanne.
Well, I said that
However,
to you before,
you're totally
though.
wrong.
It is interesting in theory, but then in practice, like I said to Leanne,
Right.
I was like, I want to block schedule my weeks, but then it's like, oh, well, you know, we're going to do a podcast or whatever, or there's, you know, volunteering at school or whatever. Like all of that goes out the window. And so it's hard to know which boundaries to hold and go, no, this is my errand day.
Stop going to the supermarket every day, right? Like
Yeah.
that's going to be a hard thing.
No, but it's like then you make errand day, like grocery store day Monday, and suddenly it's, you know, needing to go on a field trip with the kids or doctor's appointments or whatever. Like
Right.
it's in theory, it's great to go like, oh, we're going to do doctor's appointments on whatever days. And then your specialist isn't in on those days, or you have
Right.
to, you know, have a long wait and you just get what you get and you don't get upset.
Well, I'll tell you what I did when this was working effectively. So, for people who didn't listen to the podcast early on, I would assign each day of the week a purpose. So, my schedule used to be Mondays were grocery store, Costco, Target, errand day. Tuesdays, I did my volunteerism. So at the time, I was volunteering at elementary school a lot, and I have a Girl Scout troop. So anything that had to do with volunteerism, I did on Tuesdays because my daughter gets out early that day, and I have a less time. Wednesdays, I dealt with our money and finances, anything business related that had to do with our family, like if I needed to fill out some forms or work on our taxes or do some home repairs, or anything like that. Well, not really home repairs. It was all money. Wednesday was money. Thursday was the day that I scheduled doctor's appointments. Like, I've been in therapy for years, so Thursday was my day to go to therapy. And if I'm already going to therapy, then I can schedule my dentist appointment, my chiropractor's appointment, my dermatologist, or whatever other doctor's appointment I always tried to do on Thursday since I was already going to the therapist. And then Friday was like my swing day. So Friday was a day where if I couldn't get something done on one of the other days, I could do it on Friday. Or if Tuesday I had to volunteer on a field trip, I would move my Tuesday tasks to Friday. So that was my open day where I could kind of shuffle things around. And I did this for probably 3 years, and it was amazing. I just knew everything was so compartmentalized that I went, oh, this bill needs to be addressed. I will be doing this on Wednesday. Oh, I got to figure out and plan something for Girl Scouts. I will be doing that on Tuesday. Now, obviously, we would meet about Girl Scouts other days of the week too. So it's not so rigid that I absolutely couldn't do anything. It just gave me a schedule so that I knew, not loosely, but not rigidly either.
So why'd you stop?
I stopped because of, it's funny you ask, volunteerism went down, and we hired a business manager. So those 2 days a week, I didn't need anymore, so to speak. And I just kind of floated everything into everywhere. And then I started the podcast. And I have to be so flexible with everybody else's schedule. Even though I try to hit 9:30, whatever day, I want it to be 9:30 to 11:30. And then I know that I have a little time before to work out, a little time after to get some stuff done. But I almost never record on Monday or Friday, almost never. So those 2 days, I really could make something more that needed some more rigidity, like going to the grocery store on Mondays. I really could probably keep Monday free. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday be my kind of wiggle room for podcast stuff. But I also don't have the money management anymore. And my Girl Scouts is here and there busy. It's busy in like concentrated periods and then nothing for a long time. So I can make that happen. I think so for me to organize my schedule now, I guess I'm going to stick with Monday as my errand grocery store, day. But within that day, well, let's not do that yet. What about you? What do you guys need for your week? Are you interested in compartmentalizing your week that way?
I'm very interested. I'm also very worried, knowing myself, that I will become too rigid and go, well, this is like as soon as something else comes up,
right?
That I'll be
this isn't working.
This is shot. This
like
is
that.
Yeah. Well, not even it's not working, but like I can't have anything to myself. I can't have this to my,
Yes, I understand.
I think boundaries are just so hard. They're really hard to create, and then they're hard to hold. And it's hard to know when to compromise.
Yeah.
Because when you go so long without taking care of your own needs and wants, and that it just becomes a way of life to just yield to, like, everything is a compromise, that
right.
It's like, but then it's like the flip side of that is just feeling rigid about it and going, no, I need to have my boundaries. I need to have things the way that I want them.
Yeah.
So that's going to be my challenge. I'm going to do it because I want to do it. I think it's a great idea. I loved it when you brought it up. I loved it when I was looking at my calendar and thinking, oh yeah, this would help me to, instead of trying to get everything done on the short day, like short pickup day, of course, make that a day that, that I don't have to top load it with a million things.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense in my head. I'm just nervous about how
The
I
execution.
will. Yeah.
Yeah, the execution and sustaining it, right?
Yeah.
Well, as you're talking, I'm trying to figure out my week, right?
Yeah.
To see, because my therapist is on Wednesdays. So now I can go to the chiropractor on Wednesday, dentist on Wednesday, and I'm already thinking I have a dentist appointment coming up on a Tuesday. I'm going to call and see if I can move it to Wednesday. And if I can't, it's just a tooth cleaning. What Wednesday can I have it? For that kind of stuff, I can be rigid with
Right.
that.
And then when it's a specialist or something, you go, you know what? I'll just take it.
It's a one-off.
Right.
But if I'm going to get my teeth cleaned, if I'm going to, decide, someone gave me a massage gift certificate. I was like, when am I going to do that? Well, maybe Wednesday's that day. It's not a doctor's appointment.
You know what?
That's a health and wellness day.
That is a
That's a good
really
idea.
good point, Leanne, because I have had a massage gift certificate staring me in the face for a long time. And yet, if we were to talk about, if you were rich and had all the money in the world, what would you do? I would get a massage.
Yeah, right?
And I have a gift certificate. In fact, I think I even have 2 gift certificates right now. Why have I not used them?
Because you can't schedule it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm not prioritizing
Yeah.
that being part of the schedule. But you're right, a health and wellness day. I mean, that's tough because you got to exercise has to happen
Every day.
every day
Right.
anyway.
No, that
But
doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, but sort of the additional health and wellness that could be under the umbrella of doctor or massage or whatever. Not that I'm getting a
therapist
massage all
or
the time,
whatever.
but
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
or
But once in a
therapist, or
while.
getting a facial,
Right, or
going to
nails or
acupuncture,
whatever,
or your nails, or how about lunch with a friend for no reason?
Yeah.
That's health and wellness. That's your.
Yeah.
This is a good idea. I like that.
yeah.
Wednesday's health and
Health
wellness.
and
Wellness is a good idea.
Yeah, because sometimes I want to go to Home Goods and buy nothing, and I feel so guilty walking around. But it's actually something I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's for no reason at all. I don't need anything from Home Goods, but I love to go see what they have.
And it's
know?
an hour.
And exactly.
You are entitled to an hour.
100%. And I go, no, I have no time. I have no time. No time. So there's things, okay, back to what you said with exercises every day. I think this is an important part of scheduling your everyday is there are certain things that are every day, like working out, like checking and responding to email. And you can't push responding to email to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to do it every day. So
Or else you're a jerk.
or else you're a complete jerk. And you're like, where the fuck is she? So what I'm going to plan on doing every morning is get up, dogs out, girls out the door to school, come home and sit down at my computer and read and respond to my emails that morning. That's going to be every day. So that'll be 7:30 a.m. I'm going to do my emails, right? And then I am not going to look at them again until lunch. I'm going to stop and eat my lunch. And as soon as I'm done with lunch, I'm going to go through and read and respond to my emails again. And then I'm writing this down so I don't forget. And then I'm going to do the same thing again before I start cooking dinner, if that's possible. I'm going to have to see. It may have to be after dinner. I want to be done when we sit down to dinner, I want to be finished with my day. I mean, obviously, I may have to throw a load from the washer to the dryer. I have to load the dishwasher, but I want to be done with the heavy thinking part of my day. So I would like to check my email again right before dinner and then not look at it again till the next morning. This is, again, 30-day trial.
Yeah.
of
I love
trying.
the idea of this. I don't know if I can commit to that, but I'm attracted to it, but also repelled because I think everyone in this room.
What?
I'm also repelled.
Well, I think everyone can agree
It's
that
like
I'm
the Car Noir, the cologne. I'm attracted to it, but I'm also repelled. I mean,
so true.
right?
Every high school boyfriend wore
Exactly. That's what I mean. I'm attracted to it, but disgusting. Polo, obsession, any of those three.
Yeah. No, it's just I reply to emails fast. I am known for that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
But it keeps me on task to just go. I get an email. Okay, I'll reply to it. But then this morning, Vivian is known for being my lagging child and taking forever, and everybody knows that about her. Well, in middle school, she's gotten it together. She sets an alarm earlier than she needs to get up. And I always say, why are you setting it so early? Well, I like to have the opportunity to snooze. And I'm like, okay, but she doesn't snooze long. She snoozes once and then she gets up, she's dressed, she's eaten breakfast, and it's like an hour before we need to leave for school. And I said to her, like, oh my God, like you're so on top of it. What's going on? Like you could get an extra hour of sleep, that. And she's like, no, I like to just have I like to get it all out of the way and then have a relaxing morning. And she drinks tea.
She's so cute. Oh my God, you're killing me here. Talk about a white girl.
Yeah. I know. We always joke that like she was a premature baby, but we're like, and she's a premature adult because she's like having her tea in the morning. And so I said,
adorable.
I'm going to make myself a tea too. And let's sit down and have a tea. But then I started getting emails and I started, I'm just going to reply to this one.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna reply
exactly.
to this one. And I ruined our morning together. I didn't ruin it. She was fine about it. She wasn't, she wasn't visibly upset. But I thought, wow, this was like a lovely hour that I could have had with my daughter. And instead I was like, I'm just going to do this one. I'm just going to do this one.
Right.
And an hour goes by and I haven't spent that time with her. So that would really benefit me. But that's going to be a challenge. So yeah, I'll add that to my challenge.
Well, what I'm going to
block
do,
off a couple of times a day.
I think I'm going to set an alarm on my watch, and then I'm going to unplug my brain and go, I'm not even going to think about my email until that alarm goes off. And then I'm going to go, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go through and really address everything and then move on. I need to do that also. Maybe I'll say at email office because I need to do stuff for my podcast that I need to do every day. Like you keep telling me you need to respond or reply or like people's comments. And that is that's a lot to do, but it's not. It's a lot to do if I'm all day long doing it and emails and, posting on Instagram and checking my face. So if I just gave myself, I think I'll be surprised at how little time I actually need to complete it. I think if I do from 7:30 to 8 in the morning of just sitting down and focused on my computer, emails and any of that stuff I need to do, and then unplug and go work out and shower and get ready for the rest of my day, I think I'll be really surprised at how much more I can accomplish by just it being a concentrated, focused period of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Instead of all day long. I'm constantly checking all day long.
I think I'm going to go one step further and add to my the footer of your email. I check email at
Yeah, I was thinking that.
10
I'm
a.m.
stealing
and
that.
whatever it
Yeah.
is, because I feel like a responsibility that's why I'm so hyper about it. That it's like I want people to know you've been heard. I'm not ignoring you. So sometimes it's like, I'm driving and people are texting me and I'll pull over just to say, or I'll hand it to one of my kids just to say, driving right now, we'll reply later, because I don't want people to feel like I'm neglecting them.
Right.
So that might help.
That's a good idea. I've said add disclaimer to my email. That disclaimer is a good idea.
Yeah.
Tim Ferriss in his book, The 4-Hour Work Week, this is how he deals with his work week, is that he has certain times of day where he deals with emails and voicemails. And he said, maybe it's just emails. He said in the book that he tells everybody, if this is truly an emergency, text me or call me. If not, I will get back to you 100%, but it will be in one of these time periods. And that's the way I need to run my life. But I think I really want to make a concerted effort to do that, to see 30 days later how we feel about it. You know?
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
What
And
do
if it
you
doesn't
think?
work,
Right.
then just
Then what, we lost 30 days of trying?
Yeah.
What do you think about all this that I'm talking
I
about?
don't have that many emails. I feel like mine are mostly shit. Like I just delete half of them. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like I don't have a ton.
I do.
I don't have a business. I don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. So I feel like it's a little like that is not a stressor for me. That's not.
What is a stressor for you?
That's a good question. The food thing is a big stressor.
Mm-hmm.
The constant changing of my kids' schedule, because I feel like I'm at their beck and call.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the challenge. Like, you have rehearsal 2 days next week, but I'm not going to tell you what 2 days until Monday when you're driving to school. I'm like,
Right,
really? You could have emailed us over the weekend so I know that I'm picking you up at 3 instead of 5:30 today. You know what I mean? So I feel like that is more of a challenge. That's what throws me off a little bit. But
So your time during the day when they're not around is not a challenge.
no, I feel like I'm disorganized because like there's a bunch of stuff for me to do, but I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll do this now. Maybe I'll do that. Oh, I'll just run to the supermarket. Oh, I forgot this. Maybe I'll go
I
here.
see.
You know what I mean? So like I'm distracted in that way
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not organized.
I see.
But, you know, email is not a thing that
Right.
I really have to worry about, I don't think.
So then what would help you in those hours? Would it be helpful for you to go, today's the day I go to the grocery store.
100%.
Tomorrow's the day I go to Home Depot and take care of
like
household.
the supermarket on Monday and then like all of the other household errandy type crap stuff on Tuesday. I feel like throwing that all on one day is a little challenging.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I
love
think that's
the
challenging.
idea of like a mental health day.
Yeah.
I also think that there needs to be, I need to block out a day in which I actually am starting to focus on, I don't know if this is mental health day, but like, am I ever going to start this fucking business or
Tell
not?
me about
Kathy,
it.
okay,
Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
had
and I
that
feel
on my
like
list. I
that-
had that on my list that
You're
you and
gonna
I,
organize,
that
yes.
in October, we need to organize the next chapter. Like that it's not just
Ooh, I like this.
Because this
I
is
feel
my
like I
big
need a
problem
day
with
to do
organization,
that.
it's like, it's not like we're talking as if we're like these disorganized women. I think that a
Right.
lot of people who know us would be like, why do they need to do an organizational challenge? They're on top of it. So we're talking more about streamlining. It's not like we're
Yeah.
parents who are forgetting our kids at school or not sending them to school with a lunch or
Yeah,
whatever. We just want streamlining so that we can do those other things,
That's
so that you
right.
can put more time into your podcast and
Yeah.
your business, so that you can establish what the next step is, so that I can establish what the next step is. And that's the part for me that gets left out of my organizational life. Yeah, I'm handling the IEP meetings, all of the big stuff, the doctors,
Yeah.
the day to day. It's not like I'm not getting food on the table. It's stressing me out, but I'm getting food on the table at night. But what I'm not handling, I'm not setting aside the time to write. I'm not
Right.
setting aside the time to actually puzzle through what is the next chapter? What am I getting for a job? What steps do I need to take? And that is what I was thinking you and I need to
Yes.
pencil in.
It's funny
Have a
'cause
day in this block schedule
this
or hours every day.
conversation. You were talking about something that you read about like doing a deep dive, right?
Yeah, it's called
And I kept
deep work.
You're right.
Yeah, a deep work.
And I'm like, I love that theory, but I always feel so guilty about it. I was like, all right, I'm setting aside 2 hours. I'm going to sit down and do this. But literally in the 2 hours, I'm freaking out that I should be doing something else.
Right.
So I feel like if I compartmentalize, if there is a day specifically that's all you do, or a big chunk of the day, that's what you do, then if I know everything else is taken care of, maybe I can actually do a deep dive. Maybe I can actually focus on whatever instead of feeling guilty and leaving things behind.
There's also a sense of urgency because, for example, say we do our deep dives on a Wednesday, whatever. That's going to be deep dive day or whatever we call it. Like,
Right.
Working on the next chapter. There are only 4 of them in October. Like,
Right.
there is a
Right.
sense of urgency to like, you can't blow off the first one because we only have 4.
Right.
Or whatever. So we got to like get
That's
some
a good point. I
momentum
didn't
going.
even think about that. Yeah.
That is a good point. So let me explain the
Yeah.
deep work theory. I was listening to another podcast called Hidden Brain, and he interviewed a fella who wrote a book about this deep work theory. He said a lot of artists and big thinkers from for years have been using this theory. Mark Twain was the one example that I remember, where Mark Twain actually had a small house on his larger property that he went to every day to write. And his family would have to actually like physically go get him for meals because he would be so into his work in this space that he created for himself that had no distractions. It had no distractions at all. So this person, the modern person who wrote the book about it, has created that for himself, where he says he believes that we should every day or one day a week or whatever we decide it needs to be, should set aside that time where all distractions are removed and you do deep work. There's no email, no phone, no kids, no errands, no nothing. And you just dive into that deep work. And I was saying to Cathy, I used to write screenplays. I had a writing partner. And we did this often where we would rent a hotel, local hotel, for 2 days. We'd check it on Friday, check it on Sunday, and we would leave Sunday with a first draft. We will have shown up with an outline and have left with a first draft. And we did nothing but eat and write from sunup till midnight every day. But we would not leave that hotel without a first draft. And that's what the deep work he's talking about. You can't rewrite something if you haven't written it. It's the same with your company that you want to start for foods and gift baskets and that type of stuff. Until you have vomited out a first idea, you can't refine it. So,
Right.
And same with you with writing a book. Same with me with all the stuff I keep saying I want to do. I want to write a book. I keep saying I need to write a book. I need to write a book. I need to write a book, and I can't seem to vomit out anything to get that started. So I like this next chapter day. I'm going to call mine next chapter
That's
day.
good.
That's a good idea.
I like
yeah.
it.
You can call it deep dive day. You could call it
Either way.
whatever. I'm going to make mine Friday because I always feel like I almost never have a podcast on Friday. And everything else is done in theory for the day, for the week. I've already been to the doctor. I've already run my errands.
And that's your pizza day, so
And
you're
that's my
not
pizza
worried
day. I don't have
about
to worry about a
going-
meal.
Yeah, it's a good idea to do it on the day that you're picking up.
And don't have anything usually major going on Fridays. That was the day I've been able to focus on my podcast too. So I'm not going to focus on my podcast on Fridays. I'm going to focus on it on Thursdays. And then Fridays will be my next chapter day. I like that a lot. That's a really good idea,
Yeah.
Kirsten. Thank you for doing that. That's a good one. So what about you? So you have a errand day one day, next chapter day one day, health and wellness day one day, and then
Right.
you have 2 more days. One day for like Home Depot home errands.
Supermarket day, one errand day, which I feel like are somewhat separate.
Yeah, I
like
think
because I
so.
feel like supermarket is the actual supermarket and Costco are almost intertwined.
Yes,
Which takes all friggin' day.
it does. It's a full day.
Yeah, and then there's one flex day.
One flex day. That's
Yeah.
what I have too. I have a flex day. Tuesday's my flex day, but I may
Yeah,
switch.
I got to figure out like how I want that to play out, but
I may have. Yeah, I do too. Tuesday, Thursday, I may have to swap, but that's my day. I have errands, a flex day, health and wellness Wednesday, Thursdays podcast focus, and Friday's next chapter. What's yours? Do you know that?
This isn't set in stone right now. It is errand day, next chapter day, mental/health day. So that may also mean kids' doctor's appointments, etc. I can't read my writing. And flex day. Yeah, it needs some work.
But that's the gist of it. So we're going to be planning our menus. We're going to be running
Yep.
our weeks like this. Kirsten and I are going to try to run our emails in compartmentalized fashion. And then I wanted to talk about something that I used to do with my family that I don't anymore because we've just gotten lazy, and that is Cyber Free Sunday. I'm going to reinstate Cyber Free Sunday in my house. And that means nobody is on anything electronic unless it is something directly related to a school project. Obviously, Georgia does everything on her portal at school. So she has to be on an electronic for that. But no Instagram, no no Snapchat, none of that on Sunday. I'm just going to unplug Sunday. And I'm toying with trying, this is going to be impossible, but trying to have one weekend a month where we don't do anything socially outside our family. I feel like every weekend, everybody is gone
Yes.
socially. One or the other or everybody. And maybe it's just one day in a weekend, every other weekend or one weekend a month where nobody goes anywhere on this particular Saturday.
so funny that you said that. I was thinking
Why?
that about this weekend. I was like, we need a day where we do nothing. Like
Yeah.
our family has so much that just needs to be done at home, that needs to relax. Like everyone just needs a moment. And
Yeah.
I feel like we need a day.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out how to make that happen this weekend. It's funny that you said that.
Honey,
'Cause-
funny.
Yeah, I feel like we so desperately need that. Like there's all these little things. I'm like, oh, this never gets done. This
Yeah.
never gets done. But I don't know. It's
Not even to get stuff done. I mean, I think that's good too because my kids could definitely use a day in their room cleaning up and organizing and stuff. But I feel like When we finally have a day where no one has anything going on and we've just vegged out on the couch and walked the dogs and went in the pool and just had a day at home, everyone is so rejuvenated. All 4 of us.
Yeah.
But we don't make that a concerted effort. You know, you call, come over for dinner.
Right.
Of course, we're in the car right away.
Right.
You know, don't even think twice about it because we're so social. My whole family is so social that if someone invites us, we're going. But I think sometimes we need to go, no, this is actually the day where we're not doing anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'll try that. I wonder if I should, I don't even know if I can try it for a whole weekend, but maybe just one weekend
I feel
day.
like one day.
Yeah.
And maybe not even every weekend because that feels so unrealistic.
Oh, it would never happen.
Yeah. There are
So-
8 million things that are going on the weekends, but
One weekend day in October where we are homebound.
yeah.
Yep. That sounds great.
And I'm going back to Cyber Free Sunday. Cyber Free Sunday was so great in that we did this for probably a year and a half every Sunday, and the girls never even touched their electronic. They turned it off Saturday night, and they turned it back on Monday morning, and they didn't even look for it. And they were playing board games together. They got along better. And it's just one day. It's not like I'm asking them, you know, to cut everything off all the time. They already have restrictions on how much they can use their phone. But just the one day where it's like the Jewish community that observes like from sundown Friday
Yeah.
to sundown Sunday, where you just go,
Saturday. Yeah.
well, you just know that's coming. So then you know that you can relax into it.
Yeah.
You know, I really like that part of that religion is to know that for that day, for those of you who don't know, from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, people who are very religious in the Jewish religion don't use anything electronic. Like they can't even turn a light switch on. They no TV, no car, nothing motorized, nothing mechanical, which is a little extreme. But the part of it I like is the unplugging from life, where you just unplug and it's about spending time with your family. And they do that every week. Maybe too hard for us to accomplish every week, but okay. What else do we need to organize? What else do we need to do in this month?
Well, I'm going to institute Power Hour again, which is, we talked about it
right.
before.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It's Gretchen Rubin's idea where
Yeah.
you take an hour, but you have like a running list of all the things that could be done anytime and therefore are done at no time.
Right.
I
Which
like that.
It's, you know, it's hard to find those specific things because sometimes it's like, oh, there is a deadline. So I will eventually turn in the permission form or whatever the thing is. But yeah, I want to do that again because there's just always stuff around the house that I'm like, ugh, when are we going to do this?
I think I'm going to do my power hour on Monday. I'm going to try that, even though Monday's my errand day. I feel like I don't want to interrupt my next chapter day. I don't want to interrupt
Yeah.
my health and wellness
I
day.
feel like it falls into errand day, though.
It does kind of, yeah.
It feels like they're all little tiny errands that just never get done.
And maybe the
even though
errand-
you're not physically
Yeah.
going somewhere,
Well, and
like
some-
half
but
of mine
some-
are phone calls, like call the insurance company.
And
you're
sometimes
like,
they are
Yeah.
physically
Shoot me in
going
the
somewhere,
head.
like
Yeah.
drop off a load of a bag of clothes that the kids have outgrown
Right.
someplace.
Pick up or
go to
take
the
to
food
dry
pantry.
cleaner.
Yeah.
That I can walk to my dry cleaner and I can't get it done.
Yeah.
I can't get the dry cleaner. That's like the one. So yeah, I'm doing power
That's a
hour
good
on
idea to
Monday.
put it on
That is a
errand
good
day because
idea.
also like sometimes I really don't have that many errands.
Same
like
here.
it's like
Yeah.
groceries, but
And then you're done.
Yeah.
And sometimes not,
yeah.
but sometimes.
But I don't want to
yeah.
go to Costco every week.
You only need
and-
to buy paper towels once a month. You know,
Yeah,
you don't have to do that.
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
I wonder if errand day, I may include anything too on that day that has to do with my car. Like if my truck needs an oil change and that's an hour, you know, so I may include that on my errand day too, because it's an errand. I don't want it to take up another one of my days.
Right.
Now I'm protective of Tuesday through Friday. I'm doing what you're doing. I'm being rigid
Not being
about
flexible.
No, this is my time.
I know, but it's a fine line though because you almost have to be rigid to protect it to set the
To set up the system.
Yeah, to
set up the
Before
system,
you
yeah.
can actually start being flexible.
exactly.
It is
Yeah,
a system. Okay, so I was listening to this podcast this morning. I had to take Georgia to school because she's going on a retreat and she had luggage. On the way home, I was listening to a TED Talk. I couldn't remember what it was for a sec. This woman has a company where she is a, oh God, I'm going to mess it up. Some kind of psychologist, like a, like a managerial psychologist or something like that, something I'd never heard of. So she goes into a company and she asks them to destroy their own company. How do you destroy your own company? And then they will say, oh, these are where my vulnerabilities are. This is how you destroy your company. Okay, now let's figure out how to fix that. How do you fix that? It's kind of like, instead of saying, how do you make your company great? Well, that's what everybody wants to do. You take an opposing point of view and say, how do you break this down? And now you shore it up so it can't be broken down, right?
Right.
So let's look at what we've come up with.
Interesting.
How do we
really
destroy it?
good.
How do we destroy it? We just let kids come first? Do we decide, oh, this week I'm not going to stick to the schedule?
Well, I think it
tell
goes
you
back
how-
to the
yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you how I destroy it. It's like this: one of the schools sends an email saying, "Oh, we need volunteers on this day," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I can do it." Or
And that's your next chapter day.
yeah, no, exactly. And it's like, well, I don't know what I was going to do on next chapter day anyway. So
what will you do instead?
Yeah, and it's only a couple of hours. So what I'm going to do is hold a boundary and just delete that email.
Just say, I'm
or
sorry.
just I'm not available.
I'm not available
Yeah.
for this time.
Yeah.
That's been the hardest thing about going to high school is that I have been saying no because I can't, I'll have a podcast. Well, I could ask the two of you to move so that I can go. Like this morning, they're having their first meeting to plan the big fundraiser for the year. And I was like, in theory, I could go and still make it here, but I would have not 1 minute in between, from 5:45 to the end of this podcast, I wouldn't have even had time to have eaten. So I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to email and say, I am happy to volunteer. I'm sorry I couldn't make the meeting. I am not a person who can come to school all the time. Give me something I can do at home. Why isn't that good enough? For me, it really bothers me that I didn't go to the meeting. And also, you pay a price for that in some ways because I just met a bunch of Georgia's friends' parents from this high school who knew each other because they are throwing themselves into volunteerism. And I've been keeping my boundary and saying, but is that really feasible for your overall health, day, well-being, schedule? Priority should be the podcast. It should not be this fundraiser. And that's been the lose, so to speak, of keeping a boundary. So to prepare yourself for the lose, because if you gain something, you lose something usually.
Yeah, every yes is a no.
Yes.
Right.
So that's not been as easy as I thought. I thought I'd be like, screw it, I'm not going to volunteer.
Yeah.
And I have not felt like, screw it, I'm not going to volunteer. I felt very bad. And I feel like I don't know anybody there. And this is how you get to know people there, is by
Well, I
volunteering.
also think it's hard too because the volunteer opportunities in high school and middle school are far less.
Yeah.
And
In
they're
elementary
far
school,
more.
you could show up pretty
Yeah.
much anytime, anywhere, and somebody needs something.
No, you're
Yes.
right.
You know,
but that's,
nowadays,
that's
all
why
of a
I
sudden,
drop
so if
everything,
you say
though.
no,
Yeah.
right, you drop
Yeah.
everything because you don't have the opportunity to make it up, and then
That's right.
you end up feeling, or I end up feeling
Guilty, yeah.
about not being there and not knowing the other parents and whatever.
Right.
So it's like, well, if they have one volunteer opportunity, I better fucking take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or so I feel like that is something that
Yes.
could very easily derail
Yeah.
the system.
Which is another reason to stay rigid in October, to just sort of set this as a standard that it's like, these are working hours.
Yeah.
Even if it is going to the grocery store or whatever,
Right.
they're working hours. This
Right.
is,
They're office hours.
yeah. My
Really?
boss is going to be mad at me.
Right.
Like-
And the boss is
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Well, if you have that flex day, if
Right.
you have the flex day, then you can
could
adjust.
switch.
You could. Yeah. You could make, okay, so Tuesday will be my next chapter day, and Friday I can
Yeah.
volunteer like you asked me to. If you have enough notice, then you can do that.
Right.
And for most things
Yeah.
things you get enough notice, 2 or 3 days, where you could figure that out. Well, I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too.
I'm hoping this. I'm hoping I can do it. I mean, I haven't torn my side down. I think I have the same enemy of this system as you do, and I also have another business called Burt Inc. that I am highly involved in, and sometimes a meeting has to happen with 6 agents, a lawyer, 2 managers, Bert, and I'm not going to go, it's my
Yeah.
health and wellness day.
Yeah. No, exactly. You just have to be flexible. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I'm doing this month of sober
Can you
Momtober,
reschedule?
Yeah.
and it's my health and wellness day. You're interrupting my massage. Yeah, I understand we're negotiating a huge contract for something really fantastic. You'll just have
Yeah.
to wait. I'll be out of my massage at noon. No, I can't. That's going to be one of the things that is hard for me, because if I'm not derailed by when a person can be a guest on the podcast, he's the other big thing that derails me. And it's not even his fault or on purpose.
Yeah,
right.
It's like I'm one cog in this large machine, and I have to kind of adjust for when that machine can work. So no pun intended with the machine reference, but there's so
Yeah.
many people involved in his business, and I'm one of them. So sometimes that has to take precedence, because that's what pays for me to have this podcast and send our kids to private school. And that's going to be my hard thing, is how do I adjust my schedule so that I can do all of that?
And
Yeah.
also, I think for people listening, like all of that, it sounds very like rich white woman right
Yeah,
now,
it
like
does. Yeah.
sitting around thinking about the next chapter, doing deep dives or whatever. To be clear, like I do not have anyone cleaning my house or
Yeah.
doing anything for, like, all of that is still going to have to happen. Like the cooking, the cleaning, that all of the stuff is still,
Well, no matter your socioeconomic
Yeah.
place, everybody has to cook,
yes.
and so do we.
yes.
And everybody has
Yes.
kids in school. I hear what you're saying. I
Yeah.
don't want anybody to think. I think this can apply to anybody.
Yeah,
if
it's
you're in a
not-
job that you hate,
Yes.
you can find it may not be the whole day, because none of us
Right.
have a job where we have to go to an office and
Yes.
function.
I have a part-time job, so I
Yeah.
have to go to my office and function. So that will be plugged into these days. So when it's like a day, it's like air quotes, a day of doing XYZ, whatever, errand day. It's not going to be like all day long shopping.
Right.
Or whatever.
In between
or,
bonbons.
Errand day is
or
only
mental
like
health day.
6
It's like-
hours anyway, because that's when
Yeah.
you don't have kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's not an actual full day anyway. It's a very limited amount of time.
Yeah, for the 6 hours when you don't have kids, what are you? How do
Yes.
you
you manage?
maximize the
Yes.
efficiency of that?
And plugged
time?
into that is exercise and
Yeah.
prepping meals and walking the dogs
Right.
and et cetera, et cetera.
Hey guys, celebrity guest Bobby Kelly is now on the podcast.
Hi, Bobby.
Morning.
How are ya?
This is wife of the party. Are you done?
Well, we can be done. We were just finishing. I
Okay,
know.
yeah. So this is wife of the party. This is Kirsten. This is
Hi.
This is
Hi,
Cathy,
nice to meet
my
you.
wife,
Hi,
Leanne.
Kathy.
And they went
How are you?
rock-
Nice to meet you.
they
You
went
too.
rock climbing,
Oh, that's awesome.
and they all are talking about their experience on the podcast.
No, that's
We're not.
next. That's next week. But thank you. Thank you for the plug. We were talking about something else this week.
Here, Bobby,
Thank-
both these for you.
Oh, thank you.
They're
They're
beautiful.
beautiful.
Oh, cool.
I love daisies.
Oh, good.
They're so great. All right. Well, we'll wrap up.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm.
I'll go take Bobby. We're gonna get
Okay, I'll be
the
right-
flowers.
I'll be-
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I just
Nice to
wanted
meet
bring
you.
the flowers on the podcast.
Thank you. That was very
Aw.
sweet. They're really pretty. That was really sweet. He's a New York comic that has been friends with Bert for a very long time. I guess he must be out in Tinseltown doing whatever people do in Tinseltown. Well, I personally am really excited about
So
this
October
plan.
1st, we're starting.
October
this,
1st, we're
correct?
starting.
Okay.
So we have time to prep. I do believe that anybody, even if you have a full-time job, can apply this to your
To
life.
some degree,
Some of
yeah.
To some degree. That's right.
Yeah.
Because even if you know, hey, Wednesday is the day I get off work early, that's the day I can take my kids to the doctor, then that's the day I schedule it, unless
Yeah, or even setting the email times. You can do that at a
at
job.
work.
So,
Yeah, you're 9 to 5. It would make you more productive, and definitely meal planning. Everybody
Yeah.
needs a meal plan.
Yeah.
I have one lady who helps me clean one day a week. So I don't have this posh life either.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's overwhelming. So
Yeah.
I hope this is helpful for people listening, and we will have a follow-up, obviously.
Yeah, and tell us about it on Instagram.
Yes, please. And you know what? I may even post my calendar, and I may post my meals. Obviously, I have.
Oh my God! If everybody could write in what their go-to meals, like
Yes.
we would
Oh my
get
God, that'd
so
be
many
so
great
helpful.
ideas.
I would love it, and we can read them on the podcast. We can read the go-to meals. I would love to do that, or any advice, or any organizational skills, or
Yes,
systems you have. I want to know what they are.
I want to know it all.
Me too. So bring it on. So email me, Leanne at wifeotp.com. is my email. Or you can just go to wife of the party to my, I just lost my train of thought. Go to my website at wifeotp.com and email me through there. I would love to hear any and all your advice about organizing and meal planning and Cyber Free Sundays and what Cathy should be doing with her next chapter. We all know what it is, but she's stubbornly refusing. Anyway, thank you ladies very much for talking. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.